What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are here today to discuss some very interesting topics. I'm Isaac. This is David.
What's up?
Guys, we have a lot to cover today on the podcast. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now, specifically around Wicked, as everybody likes to think of it as their favorite musical. But apparently, they've gone woke. We'll see. We're going to react to some live clips for you guys and go through them, kind of dissect what is the issue surrounding Wicked. It's a whole thing. Organ harvesting in California. That's another thing that we're going to discuss.
Me and some close people next to me have been discussing that for years.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm really big pro-life, because they don't tell you what they do with the babies after they decide to end their life. So we're going to dive into that a little bit from the PBD podcast. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Specifically, there's legislation that's been passed with Planned Parenthood. It's absolutely insane. So we're going to cover that, guys. And we're also going to go through Kamala Harris does her first address after the election.
I haven't seen it yet.
There are some interesting factoids, specifically surrounding a little chug that some people think was happening before this specific address. So we shall see what happens. And then finally, you have any thoughts on it?
Do you want me to show those videos from
Of course you do. I do.
Then I'm going to have to pull them up, but they're
we got to react to some funny content.
I try not to make fun of Kamala too much, but sometimes it's hard not to.
We make fun of Trump too. If there's funny memes that come out, about somebody, as long as it's not, inciting violence or going against their character, we want to remain honorable on the show and make sure that, we have a really good thing. So it's really exciting to see what happens. Are we live or are we private?
No, we're live, but I'm just gonna check something, but keep going.
Okay, cool. So yeah, another thing that we want to cover is apparently DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, is actually in the process of potentially auditing the IRS once Trump gets in. So there's some financial stuff we want to go through with you guys towards the end of the podcast. Obviously, we will kind of, zig and zag as we go, give you guys commentary. Kind of the whole purpose of this channel is to react to cultural events, to get rid of the woke mind virus, restore masculinity, help people to be better humans, individuals, and just have better, mind, body, soul, and spirit type of atmosphere around them. And so we really care about that on this channel. We want to help you guys out there be successful in whatever you do, whether you're in business, whether you're in politics, whether you're in social circles. We want to give you the tools to be successful in your everyday life. So if you like what we're about on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification.
This is our 11th podcast, because for the last year we did mostly reaction videos. So this is our first time just going live. We'll get the quality better, but we're going to have fun with it. So we're going to start with Wicked. I wanted to see this movie for the longest time. I really did. I actually had a lot of hope, but now because of what they're doing, it's cringe. But again, I don't want to say anything beforehand. I want to get your guys' opinion and see what you think. So I'm going to go and play this clip.
This week, people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that's so cringe.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am in queer media, so that's
my God.
Yeah. I've seen.
Who cares if you're in queer media?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, why, God? Why? Why does everything have to be about your sexual identity and what you believe? Why can't you just give me a musical with good music, a good story, a good plot line?
Oh, dude. If you thought that one was bad,
oh gosh,
this one right here is a little bit more entertaining, I will say. I hope the audience enjoys this one. Here we go.
Not to be corny, but make the world a safer place, especially right now, I think it's the most important work that we can do is learn how we can listen and be there for each other and the people that we love, and especially the most beautiful community in the entire world. And I love my queer brothers and sisters so much, more than anything.
We love you back.
We do.
I want to throw a theory or an idea out there. Fiero, okay?
Okay.
His musical number I love so much because the girls in town love him,
Mhm.
but also the boys do, Bo and
Yes,
Yang.
indeed.
Do we
Oh.
think that maybe Fiyero likes the attention from both? I don't know.
Of course.
course,
Well,
of
Oz
course.
is a very queer place and
I
has
think
always
so.
been.
Yeah,
Even from the L. Frank
Very
Baum
much.
books, it's always been queer,
I think so for sure.
gay.
Hey,
Yes.
we'll take it.
Very.
Not to be corny, but make the world a safer.
Okay, Isaac, what makes something a queer place? What makes something a queer place? And she says, I love my queer friends more than everybody else, which is, I mean, is fine. Love, if you have friends, show them support, love, whatever. Why? But at the same time, why do we have to make it so this movie is directly linked to that?
How many movies have you heard of somebody saying, I love my straight community?
I love my white straight community.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Why do you have to say, why can't they just be human beings? Why do you have to associate a sexual identity to everybody and their mother when it comes to this kind of content? Just be normal. Just love people regardless of what they believe. Just be a human being. Specifically with a lot of things since Disney and the founder of Walt Disney when he passed away, and then Bob Iger took over as the CEO. They've lost over $167 billion in their market cap of their company. So what does that say about what the market is responding to the woke agenda and saying no? We do not want this in our movies. We do not want this being taught to our kids in school.
When did those interviews from Wicked come out?
Oh, very recent. Yeah, they're on their press tour.
They lost the election because of that.
Yeah, especially in California. They didn't lose in California, but they showed that they did $40 million in ads that said Kamala is for they, them, Trump is for you. They spent $40 million, and they had a 3% switch in the vote just because of that ad specifically. And then a lot of Democrats, especially on Piers Morgan, would come out and say, why is everybody talking about the trans issue? Why are they talking about this and that when it comes to, surgeries and all of this, and with minors and with kids and with, Kamala supporting it and inmates in the prison system? The problem is that nobody wants to hear that anymore. It's not popular amongst the American public. If you are at 18 years old and you decide that you want to cut your penis off and you want to do all these different things, you want to sterilize yourself with hormones, go at it, do it, fine, whatever.
Let's look at some of the comments from this. So as you all can see, these are from the latest video I just showed you. So we have, I just want someone to give Ariana a steak or carb even. She looks like a stiff wind would blow away, which in this situation I would not be totally against.
Yeah, she would defy gravity.
Someone also said it's vomit inducing. Someone said anorexia on full display here. Nauseating. We want to be treated the same. We just want to be treated the same. But we will take every opportunity to point out why we are not the same. That is a fascinating comment. These two look like they should be on life support. It is like an infomercial for anorexia. It's such disingenuous drivel.
It's tribalism ultimately.
Oh man.
The goal of all of this is when you segment a certain portion of the population, which the trans community is about 0.5% of the entire United States.
I know that's the stat, but is that actually true?
Well, it's not even trans, it's more LGBTQ identifying. But the problem is that it's a weird phenomenon, and the studies have shown that over 25% of Gen Z identify as LGBTQ. So even if you're demi-queer, for example, or demi-queer, they believe that you need to have a romantic connection or emotional connection with somebody to be attracted.
Or
to
you
them.
can be like Sam Smith and just be in a relationship with yourself.
Oh yeah, what is that called?
Asexual?
I don't think it's asexual. No, that means you're not attracted to anyone.
Yeah, you're right. All right, check that out.
Sam Smith.
Again, I have a lot of friends that want to see this movie. And I do not blame you if you want to see it, because I love Broadway. I love musicals and everything, and I'm as straight as can be. But when you start to put this agenda in there, you are segmenting out a huge portion of the population. If you just had it be about the story itself, they would probably make $1 billion.
Sam Smith came out as self-partnered.
Self-partnered.
Any of you out there in the comments right now, please explain to me and help me to understand, what does it mean to be self-partnered? Does it mean you love yourself? Does it mean that you're in a relationship with yourself? Does that mean that you're not attracted to anybody else but yourself? How narcissistic can you be?
Does it mean that you make love to yourself?
That would be very painful.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. We got Ben and Jerry. That's all I got to say.
I don't understand the whole idea of self-partnership. I mean, obviously, we teach people out there to love yourself. But when it comes to identifying as I want to only be with myself out of narcissistic behavior, then it becomes super strange. There's no reason under God's green earth to self-partner yourself. Just love yourself. It's that simple. And then go find somebody that can love you.
Do you miss the original feministic agenda, like true feminism?
I think
where it was all about just women were the victims at that time, and they had to have equal rights to men, which again, I'm for equal rights, but now it's gone to over, and they were all against men, all for women. Now they put trans above women, even to the point that
it gets rid of women's rights.
Women's rights.
Especially
women getting pregnant in prison from men.
Yeah, women, biological men competing in women's sports.
Which is why, that's why Trump won, by the way.
How is that for women's rights? If I'm trying to protect women, I do not want a man who identifies as a woman that has different bone structure, different hormones, different chromosomal structure to come into my sport and beat the living crap out of me. Specifically, the two boxers that were in the Olympics, one of them proved to be a man. After they did studies on, and he got kicked out of the world championships. And then he literally beat the living hell out of this one woman. And it took 40 seconds for her in the Olympics to say, I don't want to
Well,
go
right
anymore.
away, they were justifying it by saying he was an anomaly in the world, that he was one of the few people that was man and woman.
Intersex.
Intersex. He was actually that.
No, but he has micro organs, male reproductive organs.
Yeah, but they said that he was so we don't know what he is. So they allowed him to be in it, and they defended him after that. But then Brett Cooper and other people and journalists finally discovered that he was a man all along.
What if, and I agree with the sentiment, a lot of it was been talked about on Piers Morgan, is just having them create their own league.
Yeah, honestly, I'd be all about that. I'd watch it. Would you watch some trans boxing?
That would be very interesting.
Trans MMA.
Oh my
but
God.
This would be fascinating to me, is to see how the women that are now on full-on jack testosterone that are becoming men fight against men that become women but are not on testosterone, to see how can testosterone actually affect you.
Here's the problem, though. Why has there been no cases of women that are biological women transitioning to becoming quote-unquote men, beating men in sports?
That would never happen.
Exactly. So it's a double standard. It's the exact same thing I've been talking about. If you are a man, you transition to be a woman, you should not compete in women's sports. Period. It's why would I subject my daughter one day? And you have two girls.
I have two girls, and that in the bathroom thing, because again, if you have a truly trans person, it's not a big deal to me. But the problem is all the straight psychos.
Yeah, the straight psychos.
See, that's the problem I have. Do you know how many men are going to be like, well, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And they're going to go in there and do things. That's the problem I have. Yes, granted, I am a Christian, so I don't think, trans people should be in women's restrooms, period, unless they're biologically female. But just from a logical perspective, that's why I have a problem with it. But what were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows the fallacies of it, because any kind of loophole in society that you put into a specific segment, people are going to take advantage of it. Specifically men, that sex is the main driving force behind our identity and who we are. Like, that's how we connect best with our partner. If you're a psychopath and you get an ability to go into a woman's restroom, dress up like a woman, and then take advantage of a woman, what are the repercussions for that?
You've seen the stories too of men that went into women's locker rooms or changing stations and just revealed themselves to everybody. And now women just have to deal with it because they can't complain, because the gyms will say, no, well, that's part of our policy, that depending, we are all about everyone having the freedom to do what they want to do. And that's kind of man. And also, if I were to ever go to jail, which never will happen.
Unless you're defending your family.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll go to jail for that.
Righteous.
But if I was to go to jail, could you imagine if I could just go to a woman's prison? I don't have to deal with getting destroyed by guys, I don't have to worry about getting destroyed by guys. But if I can go to a female prison, and granted, even if I'm not in there to impregnate them, just being around them, being bigger than them, not having to worry about one of them dominating me physically. I mean, there might be
Honestly,
there might be a dyke in there, but
that might be a good idea though. Like if you go away for a really bad crime, just tell the judge I identify as a woman, and then you can go to a women's prison.
it also depends on where you commit the crime in. If it's in a southern
No,
country,
just ask the judge to relocate your trial to California.
yeah.
So you just go into like District of like San Francisco.
That's very, very tempting, but we're going to move on. So something that's very important to me, as well as Isaac, is one of the reasons why we're pro-life is not just because of the child being their life being ended, which is obviously the worst part, but also what do they do with the baby bodies, with the bodies of the children?
It's a multi-billion-dollar
yeah,
industry.
there's a black market for that. And when you do, give them the right to end your baby's life, you don't have to sign paperwork. You don't have to do anything. They don't tell you what they're doing with that. And there's been a lot of things that have come out in Hollywood about them using the blood and other things, organs from the babies to help certain elitists
adrenochrome.
to actually live longer. So we're going to react to PBD.
Yep.
Where you said that Vinny did all
the Angry Patriot. Yeah.
The Angry Patriot. He did all the research for this.
Yeah, he did a segment on it, specifically a little backstory in California. They've passed crazy legislation for Planned Parenthood of what happens when they call it the fetus, which is actually Latin means baby, which is hilarious to me. And they pass it off as that. But just listen to some of these statistics that he goes through, guys. It's going to shock you. So I would say in this portion of the video, if you have any kids watching, don't let them watch this part because it's a little bit intense. But this is something that we need to educate people on because it's a very underserved, uneducated portion of the country that doesn't understand. They say, I'm all for women's rights, but what about the life of the child? And then what happens after that child's life has been ended in a market that is very against specifically the black population, because they're 17% of the population, but they have over 40% of all the abortions.
Yeah.
So check this out, guys.
All right.
And it's really, really kind of
Vinny,
staggering.
you have a story with Planned Parenthood.
Oh, man.
Tell us what's going on there.
Okay, so, and Rob, I sent you this. So Planned Parenthood was selling viable, healthy, aborted babies who could have survived outside the womb to the University of California for experience. So, and Rob has this story, Rob. I think I slacked it to you. And in their contract, it states that they own the intellectual property rights and the patent rights developed in experiments done by the body parts. Okay, so Planned Parenthood and the University of California, San Diego, reportedly negotiated fetal tissue donations for research. Emails and a 2018 research plan revealed that they wanted up to 2,500 fetuses ranging from 4 to 23 weeks gestational age, which is almost 6 months, by the way. Now, donating fetal tissue is legal, but selling them isn't. So why is there a contract that gives Planned Parenthood the property rights over the tissue? I think that's kind of weird. And then Planned Parenthood claims that this is all done under the highest ethical standards. But how is it ethical to negotiate the fate of an unborn child if it's a commodity? It's all transactional, Tom.
Wow.
So, and then add to that the allegations of racial disparities. The Spanish consent, look how racist this is. The Spanish consent forms failed to disclose the same commercial value details as the English one. So basically, if you spoke English, you got the full story. They're going to make money. They're going to, if they get the patents, they make money, but including the fact that the tissue could have commercial value. But if you spoke Spanish, they left that part out, which is freaking racist. And they say, oh, it's not profit. But then why does it's in the stipulation in the contract, valuable consideration is in the contract. So if you're receiving taxpayer dollars and operating, this is a gray zone, and I think we need answers. So Senator Mark Rubio recently called for a federal investigation into the Parenthood based on these findings. So I think it's like unbelievable, Pat, that this is in conjunction, Planned Parenthood with the UC San Diego, that they were in contract saying, by the way, these babies can survive outside the womb. And I don't know, Pat, it was Tico who told me about this thing where they put these the forceps inside and the baby's moving because it knows about the pain of this thing that's coming. Tom, you've heard about this before. Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Tom? Because this is, by the way, this is all factual. This is factual. They were selling babies for contract, and they were basically saying, if we take this fetus, 6 months old, that could survive, Okay, totally healthy baby. We take it and we come up with the patent. You can't. It's just we're taking all the money. That's the Planned Parenthood UC San Diego contract that they had, and this is all factual. And at least this is 2 months ago. I think Marco Rubio, love him or hate him, he's actually standing up to this because it's
Pause it,
ridiculous.
David.
Tom.
Well, look, here's the thing. Before Tom goes into it, guys, it's very sobering. It's specifically surrounding this issue. It was a very polarizing issue during the election, specifically abortion. But I think there's a reason why it hasn't gone mass to the public yet, especially on the education side, because if there was proper education surrounding this, I feel like abortion rates would go down tremendously, because people have been lied to when it comes to exactly what Vinny was talking about. When they take the scepters and they go inside a woman's uterus and they're clawing at the baby's fighting for its life. It's literally knows exactly what's coming because it feels that sharp object.
I would love to see somebody that is pro-choice watch one of those videos. And there's been tons of doctors, men, that have done over 1,000 abortions. They've done over 1,000, and then finally they could not live with themselves to stay in that field.
Yeah.
So they got out and they're speaking what actually happens. They tear the child limb from limb.
Yeah.
This is not just like electric chair where they just, poke you with something and then I'm done. No, the process to get the baby out of the womb is horrific. And now they are commoditizing it.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood has the patent.
Yeah.
To use it as they say.
Yeah, and the Congress, when they did the last spending bill, gave a grant of $300 million to Planned Parenthood for women's reproductive health, and they do it under the guise of, and it's just really sad to me because specifically in this country alone, it's a genocide of specifically the Black community, like I mentioned, and Tom is going to go into the different statistics. Tom Ellsworth, it's one of my favorite people. So guys, stick around for what Tom is about to go through, and make sure that you comment below. What are your thoughts?
We know two things. Number one is that you can donate your body to science when you pass away. And if you pass away without cancer or poisoning or things like that, your organs can be harvested. You can elect, like right on your driver's license, you could say, I'm an organ donor. And your corneas, your kidneys and things can go to, even your heart can go to somebody that needs it. So medical research and donating organs has been gone on for a long time. And sometimes it's an amazing thing. And you see these stories of people that hear a recording of their loved one's heart beating in the chest of a person that received the heart after their loved one died. So all of that's been going on. And now it extends to using the tissue from aborted babies for research as well. The second thing is we need to understand is that abortion is not just a political topic. It's an industry. It's billions of dollars of profit and billions of dollars of federal dollars that are given to Planned Parenthood that conducts the abortions, and then they take the tissue and they profit and use it for research purposes. And so you've gone from the noble act of when you got your driver's license and saying, I'm willing to be an organ donor. Remember that? And they used to put like a dot or something.
Green
on your driver's
sticker.
license.
Yeah, I have. I'm an organ donor.
And so that's noble of you to do it, to try to help somebody after. You take all of that and medical research. Would you like to donate your body to science so we could do research on the walls of your heart and things like that to see how things gone? Or, when you're Alzheimer patient passes away, says, can we, or a professional football player, they want to do research on Alzheimer's, dementia, and CTE. Exactly right. All noble.
Wow.
But on the other side of it, there's this profit machine. And I'm just speaking logically of it because I'll get emotional the other ways.
Yeah.
We have to remember abortion has become an industry. It's not just a moral issue. It's become an industry. And to bring the morality back, you're having to fight an industry and Planned Parenthood and getting money from the government, and look at the addresses and look where they put their clinics and how they over-index and have created a genocide against African Americans.
Yep.
And it is a genocide. Never been more than 17% of the population. They're usually 40% of the abortions. Wow. How did that happen?
Weird.
And so this is just more what you're.
Margaret
Wow.
Sanger was a eugenicist, the founder of Planned Parenthood, and she specifically.
I was actually going to talk. Yeah, go ahead.
She specifically went into low-income Black communities and put Planned Parenthood strategically in those areas. And it doesn't make sense to me how in New York State, specifically in the last 2 years, specifically New York City, there has been more Black abortions than Black babies born.
What?
Yeah. More Black babies have been ended in New York City than have been born. And this is public record, guys. This is fact. And so I can't stand the fact that even the left or people even on the right, they have this moral obligation for all of these rights for people. Right, women's rights, right, reproductive rights, trans rights. But when it comes to the life of the unborn, my body, my choice. But when it comes to the draft for men, it's no longer my body, my choice, right? It's not the same correlation. It only fits into a narrative that they deem plausible for their message to get out more. It has nothing to do with logic or science or the inevitable inconsistencies that they have with Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, and the problem I have is I feel for the Black community because I get that they feel underrepresented. Their population is not growing as fast as other populations, such as the Hispanic community. But then they're okay with abortion. Not all of them, but most, let's say a good amount of them are.
Well, it's about the vote, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is if you want your group of people, your ethnicity, Black people to flourish in this country and the future be where they are rising up into the 20s, the 30s, percentage-wise of this country so they can be represented in more areas of government, sports, education, wherever it can be, you have to protect their life. Life is more important than no life. I've had so many people tell me, well, they're going to have, I'm a single mother. It would ruin my life. It would do this and that. My number one argument is a hard life worse than no life?
Well, think about it this way.
Can you tell me that?
So Lyndon B. Johnson, back in the 1970s with the Civil Rights Act, specifically ended the incentive for the Black father to stay into the home.
Yeah.
So if the Black father was away, whether he was in prison or whether he was estranged or he left, there was no incentive for him to come, for the mother of those children to bring him back into the household, because the government was giving checks to mothers for their kids. Each kid that they popped out, they would get more from the government.
Mhm.
So if the Black father came back, he had to get a job and provide for the family. Then at that point, she stopped getting funding from the government. So why would I do that? It disincentivizes the nuclear family structure, and it disproportionately affected the Black community. And that goes into, what did Thomas Sowell, who's one of my favorite people in the entire world, economist Thomas Sowell, and he's an amazing African-American man. He talks specifically about what does it look like for the Black father being away from the home, and how has that statistically affected the Black community, whether that's from culturally to what the music they listen to. It's all about sex and rap and all of these different things. And even Candace Owens talked about it, is if your culture is glorifying sexual perversion and promiscuity, then the abortion rates will rise as that happens, especially in low-income communities. I'm not even talking about just the Black community, the Hispanic community, or even the white community, right? There's more white people in poverty in this country because of the gap in the population than there are Black people. But if you do not have an incentive structure to keep Black fathers in the home, then they will not be there. And that will affect the abortion rates. That will affect you financially. And if you have both the mother and the father in the home, then your kid is more likely to graduate from high school, to get a job, to get married, to settle down, and not end up in jail. If the black father is not in the home, then that percentage likelihood goes up drastically.
Well, what do they say? There's 3 things you have to do in order to almost guarantee you are not in poverty for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Graduate high school, wait till you're married to have a kid, and get a job. If you do that, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, blue, orange, whatever race you might be, the chances of you being in poverty your whole life plummet like 90% down.
Yeah, the American dream was founded on the principle that if you work hard and we don't judge you based on your skin color, but on the content of your character, you can do whatever you want in this country. And that has been proven over and over and over again. We had a black president. We just had a black female president. There's plenty of incentive structures. We have plenty of senators that are black, people in Congress that are black. It's not just about skin color. And the moment you make it a racial issue, you are going into a victim mentality that says, I have to identify as this in order to get this. Instead of saying, I am American first and foremost. I love my country. I want to go make something of myself. And if I can do that and put together a plan and a strategy, I can be a vessel for change in my community. We need strong black fathers in America. We need strong Hispanic fathers in America. We need strong white fathers in America. But we just need strong fathers, right? You get into the racial conversation and everybody gets all offended and triggered. Just
You haven't experienced what I have.
what did Morgan Freeman say about Black History Month? He said the guy interviewing him said, should we have Black History Month? He's like, no. He's like, why? Why don't we just stop talking about race?
Yeah. If you tell people to look for something, they're always going to find it.
Yes.
If I told you right now that Asians are the most dangerous people, that you are pushed down by them, if you walk by an Asian at night, you're going to have fear. There are a lot of white people that I know that, well, not that I know personally. I don't hang out with racists, but if there are white people out there that at nighttime, if they see a black guy walk down the road, they're going to be more worried about him than a white person. You know why? Because of the culture that we've created, and they've been told that. When you are told that, same with black people. If you tell a black person that cops they're always after you, then you get pulled over by a cop, you are going to have a completely different mentality than if you're just like, hey, what's up? Here's my driver's license.
Yes, officer, no officer. Being respectful.
Be respectful. That's what I do. Yes, there has been racism in this country, and if you go south, there are some communities and people that do live that way. I'm not trying to destroy what you guys have experienced. I'm saying, as a whole, that's not the norm in today's world. But again, I'm white, so they're going to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Especially in politics, one of the things that they said before we go to the next topic or finish this video is in the election, they did polling, and the left was really big on defunding the police.
Kamala too.
They polled the black community, and the black community was like, why in the hell would we want police not in our cities?
Yep.
Why would we want the police to pull out and not be involved in getting rid of crime?
Liberal white people are the majority of those
Liberal
people.
white women.
Liberal white women were the ones that are trying to do Robin DiAngelo's book, the whole white fragility that you're racist.
Decentering your whiteness.
Yeah, when you're born, you're naturally racist.
Yeah. So, guys, let's finish up this video that we're in, and then we're going to go on to a couple more topics.
Yeah, we're going to go.
Have any questions?
We're going to go to Kamala's latest speech, which I haven't seen. You wanted to react to it, so I'm blaming him if it's trash. But here we go.
This is her first address since giving her concession speech.
Okay, let's see what she says.
We have become lifelong friends. I just, in front of everyone, I want to thank you, Tim. You lead with courage. You lead with heart. You see the people. You care about the people. You believe in uplifting the dignity to which all people are entitled, and you do it and you have a sense of fun when you're doing it. But you are an extraordinary leader, and obviously the people of Minnesota are very, very lucky to have you there. But you are a national leader and a dear friend, and thank you. Noelle, thank you for your work in Pennsylvania.
First of all, Minnesota is absolutely not privileged or whatever she said to have you as their governor.
His wife, Tim Wall's wife, loved the smell of burnt rubber while BLM burned down and Antifa burned down the entire city of Minnesota. Not Minnesota.
In Minneapolis.
Thank you.
The state of Minnesota.
I love the smell of burnt rubber.
They're so honored to have you.
It's just so weird. It's just so weird.
So
Tim
this
Walton's
is a
wife-
9-minute video. We're not going through the whole thing, but let's see if there's any juicy bits.
Pennsylvania and all that you did for our campaign. And let me just say to everyone on this call, I am so grateful for you. And I'm so thankful to you. I'm thankful for your love of our country and your willingness to put the work into it. I'm thankful for the faith that you put in me and Governor Walz and our team. And I am thankful because I know your character is such that you're not going to get knocked down. And you're in this fight.
This is just word
And you're
salad
in
nonsense.
it for all the right reasons. And I know that about you.
Mm.
It's why you're part of this call right now and all the work that you did over those 107 days and even before. That's your nature. And the outcome of this election obviously is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard for.
Mhm.
But I am proud of the race we ran.
And why would
And
you?
your role in this was critical. What we did in 107 days was unprecedented.
How?
Think about the coalition that we
She's that mother that would say to her child, "You trained for 3 months to run a marathon. You only could finish 2 miles, but you know what? Well done. You finished
know what it
2
sounds.
miles."
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a word salad participation trophy nonsense. It's really sad to me. Let's see what else she has to
Okay,
say.
I'll give her like
there's plenty of subject matter here, ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen. Let's give her a little bit of time to see if she digs herself out of this coalition hole she's about to talk about.
built. And we were so intentional about that. You would hear me talk about it all the time. Being a daughter of parents who are active in the civil rights movement, I know and believe that the best movements that are about progress in our country mean that it's leaders that we are dedicated to the coalition, to bringing people together that seemingly have nothing in common, but have everything in common.
Huh?
A coalition where we bring people together based on a deep love of our country and our understanding that the strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work, and that we will do that work with a sense of joy, yes, with a sense of work ethic and understanding it's going to be hard, but it's good work. It's good work to be engaged in a collective fight for America's future. And it means so much to me.
Put that on the screen.
All right.
Put that on the
Thanks
screen.
for watching, Dave. I'm going to show you.
No, keep the video playing. Just keep comments going, David. If you got any more.
Yeah, if you guys write comments, I'll show them on screen as long as they're not.
Oh, I have
roast
so much,
Isaac. I'll show them on screen.
I have so much thought, so many thoughts. But keep
half
going.
baked. Well, half blitz.
Same thing.
Same thing.
I personally think
she
she's,
sounds like a middle school teacher, bro.
It's really strange
that,
to me.
That's sitting down saying, "You guys can."
Honestly,
do
I
this."
want to give Kamala a compliment for a second. I really think that she does the best I've ever seen of saying so many words without saying anything at all.
I agree.
It's actually impressive. She's a career politician. Like that, if you guys want to know how to be establishment career politician, take notes.
Yeah, this is.
Let's keep going.
Oh, Kamala.
And to Governor Walz, that you knocked on doors, you called friends, you called in favors. You said, "Hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office." You put in the time. It was personal for you, and you gave all that you could to support our campaign. Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion.
And that's
from
good.
grassroots supporters alone.
Okay.
The most
She was in debt $20 million, and Trump offered to pay it off. Did he actually pay it off?
No, of course, her campaign would never let him do that.
I mean, they were in the whole 20
it doesn't
million.
matter. It's a political stunt. Why would they take side or take love from the Republicans?
I mean, do you think there's billionaires that would rather just pay off that than have to deal with Donald Trump's giving them money?
100%.
You think they would?
100%. 100%. You know how much money Trump raised?
Oh,
350 million.
And he had a 40 million profit.
And he had a 40 million surplus at the end. She raised $1.5 billion and is in debt $20 million. And she lost in a landslide.
And she gave
every single
20
swing
million,
state.
20 million plus the celebrities.
She didn't win an entire county compared to Joe Biden in the entire country. She didn't do better in any county. And yet she spent that much money. Like, where does it, I'm really curious. I'm actually really want to know this. If you guys know this in the comments, let me know. Where did all that money come from and where did it go?
Well, I mean, when you're paying $100,000 to build a studio where Kamala was at, so that Call Her Daddy,
yeah.
the host came and actually filmed there. You're talking about $100,000 for an hour just because you felt like it, because you could. Could you imagine being somebody that gave her 20? Say if a regular person that makes $60K a year, I'm going to donate $1,000 to Kamala. And then you see that she paid Oprah $3.5 million.
We're turning the page, David. We're turning the page.
Don't go back, go forward.
All right, let's keep going.
But my favorite thing with all of this,
I want to keep going.
We're not going to go too much into, is how all these mainstream media outlets are starting to die. Yeah. MSNBC is being sold because, and I think CNN's laid off or is laying off, 50 to 80% of their staff.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's just a vindication.
There's rumors circulating, by the way. There's rumors that Elon's going to buy MSNBC.
I saw that, dude. He said, how much does it cost?
Well, Donald Trump Jr. posted it and tagged Elon, said this would be fun. And then Elon below said, how much?
Could you imagine having so much money that, let's say if it cost, I think the realm they were discussing was 5 to 8 million, was in that range to buy the news outlet.
5 to 8 million?
No, not million. Sorry,
billion.
Because PBD on his podcast was talking about possibly buying it.
Yeah.
But could you imagine if Elon, 8 billion, screw it, I've made way more than that on X already. All right, let's see if
that'd be interesting.
Miss Kamala has anything else to say.
Oh, she has plenty to say. It's just whether it's actually.
We're not going to show the whole thing.
No.
Most in presidential campaign history.
Yes.
Nearly 8 million donors contributed an average donation of about $56.
Mm-hmm. You wasted all their money.
Powered campaign. And understand that the work that we did included the work that so many of you here did, which is to talk to first-time voters. Many of you are first-time voters. And to talk about how being involved can make a difference. And that remains true. And that's one of the pieces that I just want us to please take away, that our fight for freedom and for opportunity and for the promise of America, it included, for example, almost 4 million first-time contributors to our campaign because of the work you did of helping people know that they can be engaged and that they're not outside, that they're inside, that we're all in this together.
What? See, you know what the problem with cults are? Is that you believe that you have the most noblest cause. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
The biggest thing about a cult is you believe you are always right.
Just keep her on the screen. I want to look at her every once in a while.
You want to, oh gosh.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see that face?
Look at that face, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
That is a face of someone.
Perfect time pausing it.
Oh man, that's a good one.
The problem with the cult is you hype them up. You did such a good job. You gave the most money.
Yeah, it's gaslighting at its finest.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, actually, there's a cult that I found up in the mountains of North Carolina that they actually worship snakes, and they hold them during a church service.
Is it like Luciferian?
No, they're Christians. Not really, but
no,
they're Bible believing people, and they wrap snakes around them, and they if they get bit, then it's a good thing. I don't know if they're venomous or not. I don't even know why I'm talking about that.
What?
We're talking about cults. You just got me in in a whole headspace.
I love how she's boasting about how much money they raised, but when it came to the actual voting booth and people going out to vote, she didn't beat Biden in any county, like you said.
In the entire country.
Trump was the first time winning the popular vote in 20
Well, it's
years?
historic. He won the popular vote, he won the Senate, the House, and he's probably going to do 2 more Supreme Court nominations in his next 4 years, which would be insane.
All right, we're going to go to business.
All right, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So IRS.
How many of you out there actually like paying taxes? How many of you actually like paying taxes? We want to talk about it. So, little backstory. The Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, as they call it, headed by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk is wanting to go in and eliminate $2 trillion of the deficit within the next 18 months, which would be insane.
Yeah.
There is so much government spending that is so out of control, and Americans are saying, where is all my tax dollars going? Because you guys have to understand, as Elon said, every single tax dollar that you pay to the government, anything that they use for government spending is using your tax dollars. It's using everything that you've put in. So what happened was, and let's pull this up, the IRS apparently...
Well, first, before you get there, let me show you guys this. Elon, Watcher Guru, said Elon says the IRS will be audited by the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge. So he's going to go in and finally hold them accountable, because I will tell you this. I'm not afraid of many things, dude. Every year when it comes down to tax season, it scares the crap out of me. That's the only thing I can say really scares me outside of, like, a family member dying or something. But taxes, I can't stand it, because there's no accountability for them at all.
Well, first thing they need to do, in my opinion, is they need to fire all 87,000 IRS people that Biden hired to go after people. That's not a good use of taxpayer dollars. There needs to be a reformation and an audit, because there's a lot of people that work for the IRS that aren't even paying taxes, and that's our next thing.
Well, let's show this real quick. Garbled Vocation. Hey, guys, I'm watching from West Virginia. I found you guys from J&J Adventures. Welcome. We appreciate you, man. Also, my dad is from West Virginia. My entire side of the family is West Virginian, and so they're Steelers fans as a result.
You want to sing it with me real quick?
What?
Country road.
I don't know that song.
Take me home.
Oh, yeah.
To the place I belong.
No, we're not on here to sing.
West Virginia.
We appreciate you watching, man. Yeah, West Virginia is close to my home. I need to go hunting, because my cousin the other day that I'm close with, his son is what, 5 or 6?
No, he's older now.
7 maybe?
7.
But he shot his first deer, and they caught it and put it on Facebook. So it's pretty dope. We have a good place in our heart for West Virginia.
It's in Clarksburg, yeah. So it's about an hour from Morgantown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But going back to this, so we're gonna watch a Fox News video, and GOP finds that the IRS employees owe nearly $50 million in taxes.
Interesting.
Can I scream cult anymore?
Can I scream cult?
That's the
Can
entire.
I get an amen?
That's the theme of our video today. Is what kind of cults are in the government and are going
they need to be rooted out.
Yeah, they're not being held accountable at all. So we're gonna show you guys this.
More than 800 IRS employees still owe millions in back taxes. So let's turn to Fox Business's Grady Trimble, who is here in person in studio. Tell me about this. What's going on?
So Senator Ernst is calling these employees who work for the IRS tax evading tax collectors. The IRS admitted in a letter to her that at one point more than 2,000 employees owed more than $12 million in taxes. As of the letter dated November 8th, 860 employees still hadn't paid up. On top of that, at the time of the original investigation over the summer, some 1,700 contractors of the IRS had balances due, totaling more than $17 million. And since then, only 600 of them have paid up. And that's where Doge comes in, the Department of Government Efficiency, not only about cutting waste, but also about making sure people are paying their taxes. Vivek Ramaswamy says this is another example of rules for thee, not for me. And he's working with Senator Ernst, who is head of the Senate Doge caucus.
I sat down with Vivek Ramaswamy this last week, provided him with a blueprint of $2 trillion of savings nearly immediately. That those that are pushing against cutting this waste out are usually the fat cats that are actually enjoying this government waste.
So in fairness, we should point out more than 96% of IRS employees and contractors are tax compliant. But Edward, here's another staggering number for you. It's not just IRS employees who aren't paying their taxes when they're due. Across the federal government, federal employees owed around $1.5 billion in unpaid taxes.
Yeah, nobody's checking the checkers.
What?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Dude, that makes me mad. Do you remember when they did Venmo recently?
Let's speak to the audience. Does that piss you guys off like it does me? $1.5 billion. And you know what? It's like 84% of federal employees only come into the office like once a month.
86%?
84%.
84%.
So imagine if you required government employees to come into the office 5 days a week, what would actually happen in terms of people either getting fired, reorganized to some other department. There just needs to be a massive washout of the federal government. There needs to be just a reckoning. Honestly.
I want our government to become small again. Make government small again.
Yes.
MGSA, I guess, whatever it is. I want there to be accountability, because when you hire 87,000
IRS
agents to come after the everyday person like us,
yes,
instead of the people that are actually evading taxes.
Why don't they start with their own? Why don't they start with the IRS employees that haven't paid? Then they go to the federal government and say, why haven't you guys paid $1.5 billion?
They should tell them that they have to be compliant within, let's say, by the end of the year, or else they all get fired.
Yeah, and prosecuted.
And whoever hired them
they
gets
prosecute
fired.
people for not paying taxes. Why wouldn't they do that for their own? It's interesting how you protect your own in the federal government bureaucracy. They get stock tips early. That Congress people can buy stocks. Nancy Pelosi is worth $270 million. Interesting how that works. Nobody is held accountable.
We can see what stock she buys, right?
You can now, yeah. There's an app for that.
Should we just follow Nancy Pelosi's stocks?
There's an app for that. Somebody created an app for that.
Really?
Yeah, it's smart. At least while it lasts.
Should we do it?
We can. I can look it up.
I mean, now that Trump's in office, the Pelosi's of the world aren't going to be able to roam free as much. But
yeah, I mean, the thing is that a lot of people think that he should prosecute his political opponents. I don't agree with that. I think there's some cadence surrounding it. Now, if you did something blatantly illegal, then yes. But when it comes to the president of the United States and Hunter Biden, that's a totally different conversation for another day.
Dude.
But it's tough because you got to think about the geopolitical ramifications of what it would look like if the president's son was indicted.
They just need to put very specific laws in place that going forward, we're just going to keep everybody accountable.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that they finally created Doge, because it's going to make it so. I'm sorry, even if you're in government, you are not above the everyday people where you have, what was it, 2,000 IRS agents? Probably more, because they said 4% were non-compliant. So, I mean,
that's what they say.
But this is the day before Thanksgiving. It's the time to be
Happy
thankful
Turkey
for.
Day, ladies and gentlemen.
What are you thankful for? All I have to say is I am thankful for the last month, 2 months. I have a 1-month-old baby now.
Wow.
I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm glad that Trump won. I got my first gun a little over a month ago. So
Strap up.
I'm very happy. Hopefully I'll get my concealed carry hopefully soon. But I'm happy that the world seems to make sense.
Yes.
It makes sense. You have the people that are crying, but overall there seems to be way more unity than there was the last 4 years. I am just really praying that the Middle East, as well as Ukraine,
Hamas,
Russia.
ever since Trump took office, there's crazy things happen geopolitically.
Yeah.
Hamas has wanted to do a ceasefire. Russia is willing to come to the table now, other than what Biden did a couple days ago with okaying Ukraine to send ballistic missiles into Russian territory, which is absolutely insanity. Hopefully that Trump gets on the phone with Putin and has a conversation, because this is insane. But there's a lot of good things happening. Saudi Arabia were basically kicked out all of Hamas out of their country, which is great. And there's a lot of really interesting things happening. Bitcoin's at an all-time high.
I know you like that.
Stock market's surging. There's a lot of optimism, which is what you need for a healthy, striving.
Isn't it funny that everybody's coming out of the woodworks now? For years, because we've been in crypto for a long time. Isaac is kind of the crypto expert. I'm the media person, so I'm the one that films our videos, edits, does the thumbnail creation, everything. Isaac is kind of he helps me produce the show. Of course, we're the talent combined, but we're also business people, and so he does a lot of crypto, AI, and everything. Which we have some things coming out we might tell you guys down the road, but. Don't you feel justified now? How many people laughed at you?
Oh, most people thought I was crazy, especially people in my life. Like, why would you be in Bitcoin?
Or
it's
you're
a
scammer. Yeah,
exactly. And so for me, it's about, you got to think about the legacy financial system around the world. And the dollar is constantly being devalued. We're just printing it into oblivion. We're 35 trillion in debt. We have to think about what is money, what is a finite supply of resources and value and economic stability, and then think about the global markets. The Russian ruble is tanking. The dollar is becoming less and less valuable by the day. People are struggling to pay basic necessities and bills. Inflation in and of itself is outweighing the amount of raises that people get. So if I make $30,000 this year and inflation goes up, it's worth $25,000 next year, and I'm not getting the same amount of raise to inflation ratio. So there's a lot of things on the table. So you guys have to be smart with your finances. Obviously not financial advice, but look into Bitcoin, kind of do your own research. Watch Banking on Bitcoin on YouTube. It's free to watch. Highly recommend taking a look at that.
So our goal is first to get our channel off the ground. Then going forward, I want to do my own channel with filmmaking because I went to school for that. I honestly wish I never went to college now, but I did go to college for filmmaking. So I'm going to do that on storytelling. We're going to talk about the movies, about the entertainment industry. Eventually, Isaac is going to also create an AI and crypto channel. So that's kind of going down the road. But coming back to what we're thankful for. So our garbled vocation, I'm thankful for the USA coming back to normal. And he played Call of Duty with one famous Twitch stream before your birthday.
That's pretty cool.
Well done. I actually need to get back into some gaming, but I'm just so busy with my 1-year-old.
Yeah.
But anything else?
Yeah, I think what we want to really help you guys to understand is make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us for more detailed videos. We are coming out with videos Monday through Friday. Most of the time, we're going to be going live Tuesday and Friday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the time. It's usually 1 or 2, just with my schedule of taking my baby to doctor's appointments and everything. It's all over the place, but Tuesdays and Fridays are the goal. Eventually, we're going to get a new studio soon, and then we're going to go live every day. So follow us for more. Last thing to have some fun with is Charlie Kirk. I want to show you guys this. This is in the realm of Thanksgiving and being thankful. He said, so yeah, a bunch of libs got together for a primal scream ritual, releasing their anger by screaming at Lake Michigan, all because Donald Trump won.
Check this out. Let it out, guys. Let it out.
They're just going round and round and round.
Can I say cult anymore?
It's so weird.
I'm just thankful that I'm not those people. Again, I love you. I will gladly go and have a drink with you guys. We don't even have to talk politics. Let's just hang out.
What would I have in common though?
We can talk about life. I'll talk about sports. There's a lot of woke sports people, bro. There's a lot of people in the film industry. Let's talk movies, whatever it can be. But regardless of that, we appreciate you guys.
Make sure at this point in the video as well, because we are live right now. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining. Go back through the video. It's going to be posted right after this in our live section of our YouTube channel, and you can go back and watch everything that we covered today. So let's just go over briefly what we covered. You want to start with the first one?
Yeah, we first did Wicked, which Wicked's gone woke. We did 2 different videos. Enjoy that. But then we did PBD when it comes to organ harvesting for young children, which we are super pro-life.
Planned Parenthood in California,
exactly.
And San Diego.
Yeah, and then Kamala, and then business.
Yeah, it's a great podcast, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we love each and every one of you. We read all of your comments, and we try to respond to as many as we can. We're getting bigger as time goes on. It's going to be harder for us to do that. But while we're small, we love every single one of you, and thank you for joining, and we will see you guys on the next video.
Peace.